Joining us now is Republican from Illinois, a member of the House Foreign Affairs and Energy and Commerce Committees, Congressman Adam Kinzinger. Congressman, thanks so much for being with us. The breaking news, Kellyanne Conway, advisor to the president moments ago, said of the idea of this continuing resolution, keeping the government open till February, she said the president would take a look at that, certainly. That doesn't seem to be build the wall or shut down anymore. Does it look to you as if the White House is caving?
No, I don't think it's caving. I think it's understanding that shutdowns are stupid. And I think if we shut down now, you shut down over the holidays. You know, I've been here 8 years, and every year we play this Christmas game where it's like, we're going to stay over Christmas. We're not going to be able to get our work done. And then we punt into January. It's nothing new. But that'll allow then the House to come in, which is really the dynamic at play right now anyway, even though we're still in the majority. And it'll allow the president, Pelosi, and Schumer and the majority leader to figure out where to go from here for the long term.
This is the worst Christmas game ever, by the way. I know terrible. A lot of better board games that the family can play.
It's evil Christmas game.
You do acknowledge, though, that it means pushing this down the road. Let me read you something else the president said, or Sarah Sanders said about this yesterday. The president has asked every one of his cabinet secretaries to look for funding that can be used to protect our borders and give the president the ability to fulfill his constitutional obligation to protect the American people by having a secure border. She's basically saying they're going to look for funding for the wall elsewhere in the government. First off, I'm not sure that's how appropriations and government funding work. Actually, I know it's not how it works. Secondly, that's not Mexico. That's not Mexico paying for the wall, is it?
No, I mean, you know, the president will make the point about the new NAFTA. I'm not sure how that all works out in terms of that. But no, I don't think there's any reality that Mexico is going to write a check. But I am for border security, and I think it's an important thing to do. I think it needs to be appropriated by Congress to do. The president ran on it. He won on it. And so I think it would be right to give it to him. But here's where I'd go from there. Let's secure the border, but let's also fix the broader immigration system. You know, we sit back and the left doesn't want to give us the wall because they won't get their thing. We don't want to give their thing because we won't get the wall, and nothing gets done. And this has been going on like this for half of a decade and longer for the bigger issue. Let's just fix it all for once. And maybe it's too simplistic for me to say it. Just fix it all, because there's going to be plenty more issues coming along in the future.
Look, it's not too simplistic, but there have been deals in place that Congress couldn't get through when it had the opportunity. It's hard to imagine why the next time would be any different. If I can, I want to ask you about well, let me just lastly on shutdown. So you're saying you don't think there'll be a shutdown at this point?
No, I don't think so. I think, and especially a shutdown over Christmas would be kind of dumb.
All right. On Michael Flynn yesterday, inside that courtroom, the judge said he had disgust and disdain for the fact that Michael Flynn lied to the FBI, lied inside the White House to the FBI, and also had criticism for his work as a foreign agent during the campaign and during the transition. Let me ask you, as an Air Force major, do you have disgust and disdain that this retired general would lie to the FBI?
Yeah. Absolutely. And, you know, there is some question in terms of the process and should they have gone through the council of the executive branch. That's all well and good to have that discussion. But Mike Flynn, I mean, it's clear. Did he serve his country well? Yeah, but there's clear that he hid the fact that he was lobbying for Turkey, among other things. And there's a picture of him sitting by Vladimir Putin at a fundraising dinner. And so I get that he's done great things for his country. There's a lot of people who've done great things for their country. But that doesn't take away the fact that you still have to continue to represent the best interest of your country, unless you're going to go be a lobbyist for a foreign government, which is legal in our country. But you have to register and be clear about who you're lobbying on behalf of. So I respect General Flynn's service in the past, but that doesn't exonerate him from any times when he turned against his country or did something not in the interest of the U.S. government.
And just to be clear, both Michael Flynn and his lawyer, and it's clear the judge inside that courtroom felt that Michael Flynn was not trapped. Michael Flynn was asked outright, were you trapped by the FBI? His answer was no. The lawyers, was he trapped by the FBI? The answer was no. I want to ask you a question about an issue that's very important to you, and I think should be very important to all Americans, and it's the case of Leila Shawkani, who was an American citizen who seemed to die in a Syrian prison, likely executed. This is something that really has just come to light. What do you think the United States needs to do about this?
Well, we knew she was missing for a few years, and we found out about a month ago that she was, in essence, tortured to death by Bashar al-Assad, an American citizen. She went to help the people of Syria, tortured to death. And as terrible as the Khashoggi situation is this is an American that was tortured to death over a period of 10 months. I think the administration needs to be very clear that we know, obviously, that this happened, calling out Syria for it, finding out what other Americans are in custody, because this is a message not just for the evil Syrian government, but also a message for any other government that would take American hostages, which is we don't accept that. And I think if we know of any other Americans in the custody of Syria and we have an opportunity to spring them loose, we ought to do it. If we don't, we need to have that opportunity. We need to be very clear-eyed about the fact that as Americans, we never accept a country like Syria illegally imprisoning our people and torturing them.
Have you had any response from the administration yet or your concerns about this?
I actually have one coming this week. So I've got a meeting coming this week about this. So I'm pleased with that response. I don't blame anybody. I don't blame the past administration or this administration for it. I just think we need answers for what happened, and we need to fix that going forward.
You blame Syria for this in the Assad regime,
Absolutely,
which is still in place as we sit here and heading into 2019, which in and of itself is something.
500,000 dead Syrians.
Yeah.
500,000 dead Syrians, 50,000 children, use of chemical weapons, torturing Americans to death. That's a big problem.
All right, you are heading into another term in Congress, and I couldn't help but notice, and we get to talk to you quite a bit on this show, after the midterms, the New York Times did an article about returning members to Congress, saying that there are some Republicans who will now be in the minority who may be discouraged by being in the minority. Republicans in the minority discouraged who are also sick of answering questions about President Trump. And it put you in that category and suggested that maybe you wouldn't want to seek re-election because of all of this. You want to respond?
Yeah, well, I intend to seek re-election, but you can never commit to seeking re-election before you're even sworn into the next term. I think that's being dishonest to your district. So we'll always look and say, okay, is it appropriate for me to run again? I fully intend to. But yeah, there can be some discouraging times in the minority, of course. I've never served in it. And yeah, every tweet, every comment isn't always fun to have to respond to. So that part's accurate. The not running again is not accurate. I fully intend to.
Do you feel that Republicans, the party, and specifically the White House, has learned any lesson from the midterm elections?
I think that remains to be seen. I think we need an honest accounting of where we had losses and areas where we did well. Districts where we were strong. Figure out where we had losses, the suburbs in Illinois, for instance, why that happened, and adjust. If we just pretend like that didn't happen, it's going to be a lost opportunity. I think we need to look back and say, whether you win big or lose big, you need to look back and say, why was the result what the result was, and how do we learn from it?
Congressman Adam Kinzinger, Republican of Illinois, have a Merry Christmas, and I hope you play many more fun games than the evil shutdown game.
I agree. Take care.
Now available in stores. Thanks. Erica?